Hello and welcome to another Demis Hellen tutorial. We are taking a look at multiband compression. If you're not too familiar with this, I'm just going to have a quick run through on what it is. Very simple, and then I'm just going to get into how I process a lot of my kicks to add a lot of click and attack on the top end, especially when you're only using one kick drum source, and make sure the low end isn't affected at all and that you are just keeping it as it was. So, a multi-band compressor. Let's just take a listen to the kick now with this deactivated. That's my kick drum. And I'm just making sure it's not clipping. It does sound like it's clipping. And it's because of some of the distortion on there. Right, so that's the kick drum that I'm using for this demonstration. And it sounds like that without any processing. As soon as you load multiband compressor, it's going to sound like this. Sorry, that's soloed. So it's compressing it heavily. And we don't want it to do that, especially that low end. We've just lost it all of a sudden, and you'd be thinking, oh, shit, what have I done? And you're not going to use it. Now, the low end, if we solo the low end, we're only affecting whatever this is on the EQ up here. So you can have all that in, or you can just hone in on those low frequencies. So I want to preserve everything to, just listening to the frequencies, to about there. Sounds about the sweet spot. And what I want to do is make sure that the low end isn't being compressed at all. So simply, all you have to do is turn the ratio down to 1:1. Okay, and that is your low end as it was with no compression on. So if you was to bypass, you can't, because you'd hear the whole sound. If I was to turn the threshold up and there, it's compressing it. But turn it down to 1:1, no compression's happening because it's a 1:1 ratio, it's equal to itself. So the threshold would not do anything, there's no compression applied. So that's the best way to make sure that your low end is fully preserved and doesn't get affected at all by any compressors. Now, these are just individual compression units affecting a certain frequency, whereas a single band compressor would just affect the whole thing. You just have one of these compressors at the bottom affecting the whole frequency range. And the lovely thing about multibands is you're honing in on the frequencies you want to obviously apply the compression to. So you want more click, you're not going to apply it to the low end, you're going to apply it to the mids and the highs. So let's take a listen to the low mids. I want to affect that area with this one. We're at a 2:1 ratio. And as you can hear, it's compressing the hell out of it. Now, it's because the attack's so quick, it's actually cutting the transient off pretty much immediately as the compressor hits. So if you turn the attack up, you're starting to stop the attack hitting that transient too quickly. So the compressor's reacting slower and you get a bit of click. So you can hear the click coming back. So with this, I do want a fairly fast attack on there. So we've gone from having that to that. So there's a bit more punch in there, but you've lost the transient. But we're going to make that back up by adding these other two bands in. So let's go to this one. All right, so we have a lot of click here. And what I'm going to do to shape this one is hone in on this one to about 12. So this one then is covering this whole range here. So we're going to turn the threshold up. It's on a 2:1 there. And we want a lot of click. So we're going to increase this attack. So before it was that, now it's this. Just going to increase the ratio to 3. So now we have, as before we had this, So that's the original signal, and then with the compression we've applied so far, we've added a lot more click. And then the top, I'm not too much of a fan of these. We're going to let them through a little bit, but we're going to squash them. So I'm going to put it to a 3. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn the output down, just reduce it. Okay, so it's not the best kick in the world, but you're getting the idea that this is much more aggressive than that. It's got a lot more punch on that top side, and that's where multiband compression really helps to preserve all that low end detail and keep that real rounded warmth once you've spent ages molding your kick. This helps to obviously just process those top bits and not bother with that bottom end. So let's just go back to kick 2 just to shave off the roll off. So it's a little bit less rounded on the edge. And that's what it sounds like without the compression on. So you can add that click back in by all means. I'm just going to reduce it. Just increase this probably by about just shy of a dB. Okay, so that is how you can multiband your kick and preserve the lows. I know it's not the best of examples on the kick drum side of things, but you can definitely hear there is more click in the top mids and absolutely nothing happening to the bottom. So if you was to use a standard compressor, you'd have this. It'd start affecting your kick drum like this, and you'd have to turn the attack up to stop it hitting and compressing too much to get that low end back. But this way you can just literally 1-to-1 ratio, and it's not affecting that band, and you can forget about it. Then you can concentrate on the other 3 bands. Typically I only work with 3 bands in total, so I have the lows, highs and mids, but I use a different multiband, and it does look a bit more confusing than this one, so this was better for this example. But let's have a listen in the whole track. So this is before, and then this is after. So the kick becomes more prominent straight away, you can hear it. Gets lost in the mix there, because there's a lot of high-end detail taking over. And that's helping it kick through a little bit more. So in terms of it being blended into the track, I've not mixed it in context. You've heard me talking about mixing in context. So it's a good idea to kind of do it whilst you've got the kick soloed. So you've got a ballpark sound, and then start mixing it into your track with all the sounds in, so you're getting a nice sound overall. Because that's sounding very mid-rangey at the moment, and it's a little bit too nasally, I think is the word. But it's easily fixed and mixed in context. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments, and I respond to them all in the first couple of hours. And also hit the like button to make sure that everybody can see this video, because people are finding these videos a lot more now because of you helping me out. And subscribe and hit the bell icon. I upload twice a week, and it's currently the March Marathon, and I'm uploading every single day at the moment. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.